What's up, you guys? It's Erin. Welcome back to my channel. Today we have my first ever declutter video. I am not good at declutters. I don't like declutters. They stress me out. I don't like getting rid of things. It's just not my strong suit, alright? I usually have 5 or less products that I declutter and put them on my Instagram stories and kind of share there because it's just not anything that's worth filming for YouTube. But I recently kind of did an overhaul with my organization for my beauty room and realized there's just a lot of products in there that needed to go for various reasons. So while I have them, I thought I would kind of go through everything with you and tell you what I decluttered and why. But before we get into the video, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the little post notification bell so you're notified when I upload videos. I do a lot of relatable beauty content and I'm just really enjoying making YouTube videos. It's just really an outlet for me and I'm having so much fun slowly growing this little channel, and I would love to have you. So let's just get into the video. It's about 12:30 in the afternoon here. I changed my setup to be a little bit more cozy. I have my winter / Christmas mugs out. I'm having an afternoon cup of coffee because I got up really early this morning and my sleep schedule is always all over the place, and I'm hitting a little bit of that slump. And even though I don't usually have a second cup of coffee, I'm going to do it today. And then I switched up my tree to a little Target dollar spot tree that I got last year. And then this candle is from Chip and Joanna's line from Target. Hearth and Hand. It's cardamom and vetiver. It's a really crisp but wintry smelling candle. I really like it, and I like that it's just plain white. I really like the aesthetic, and even though their products are probably a little overpriced for what they are, their section just really draws me in, you know? And then my mug was $1 at Goodwill last year. I did a whole Christmas haul and it was awesome. Alright, I kind of have everything organized in front of me in categories because I think that will be the most interesting. But I did fill up this entire basket when I went and reorganized my beauty room. I just had so many products that I realized I hadn't reached for in so long that I just aren't my preference anymore, and I don't want an overflowing collection. I really want, even though I kind of do have a lot of products, I just really want to keep products in my collection that I reach for and that are formulas I like, not products I kind of like. And a lot of these are still products I can pass along to friends and family that will really enjoy them, so I'd rather be able to pass them along and have them get use out of them or throw away what's old. Alright, the first category here I have is eyeshadows. The first one is a very sad declutter, and it is these Nudestix cream eyeshadows. They are the magnetic eye colors, I believe they're called. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get rid of every single one. These were sent to me by an Instagram friend who knows that I love cream shadows, and so I was really excited to receive them. I have the shade Rustique, Copper Foil, Immortal, and Cocoa. I know for a fact that I'm going to get rid of Rustique and Copper Foil because they're beautiful when you first apply them. They're really easy to work with and easy to blend out, but when you apply them to your eyes, this is probably my favorite shade, Rustique. When you apply them to your eyes and blend them out, I don't think it's going to show on my hand because I applied a lot, but they kind of just blend out to be they don't show up a lot on the eyes, and then when you kind of get a finished product that I'm okay with, it literally creases and kind of dwindles away to nothing over the day. It's I can't even tell that I applied anything. But I do think I'm going to keep the 2 darkest shades because these seem to have a little bit more stick and grip to them, and they're a little drier and longer lasting than the really shimmery shades. I've used these the most, and I know they just don't work for my eyes, unfortunately. I was really happy that my friend sent them to me, but yeah, they're just a formula that I don't love, and I love cream eyeshadows, and there's just a lot better longer lasting, less creasy, more pigmented formulas out there. Next palette I have is this. It's a throwback. It's this palette from Kat Von D. It is anyone remember these little tiny Shade and Light eye palettes? So this is a throwback to when I first started my Instagram page. I think it's almost been 3 years ago now, and I was really trying to grow my makeup collection. I would shop at TJ Maxx all the time because they were just starting to get high-end makeup in their makeup section, and I was obsessed with this little palette for so long, especially this shade. If you can see, there's a huge dip in that shade. This is like a beautiful like plummy eye palette. I never reach for it because I don't film with it because it's not available anymore, and they've since rebranded to KVD, which isn't that much different. But I just have other purple palettes that I reach for over this, and yeah, sadly I never reach for this anymore, even though I really do like this palette. The next is a little Smashbox Cover Shop palette. It's the Golden Hour Eye Palette. They have a ton of these little Cover Shop palettes. This is one of their like warmer neutral ones. This was a gift from my sister-in-law, I believe, and my first ever Smashbox palette. I don't really have a lot from them, more like face palettes than anything. This just is not very pigmented. Let me see if I can show you guys. Like, it just doesn't really show up to be much on the eyes. There's only these two like light mattes, and then the rest are shimmers, and I just never reach for this because I never get an eye look I really like with it. I really need to reach for other palettes if I want to get a certain amount of shimmer and depth, and I don't get that with this palette, and I think there are way better options, and these are not cheap. I'm decluttering another purple palette. It is from Lime Crime. It is the Venus 3 palette. I got this, I think, a couple years ago from Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. There's nothing wrong with these shadows, but they're just like really, like a lot of these are really bright and not shades I really reach for. And I don't really love the really bulky packaging. I just don't reach for it a lot. I like something a little bit sleeker. This is just a little tacky to me. Lime Crime's just not really my aesthetic, and I don't know why. I just never reach for this, but I've only used it a few times, so I'm going to try to pass it along. The next palette I'm decluttering is from Morphe. I believe I got this in a BoxyCharm box. It is the Nightmaster 15N palette. I really like this when I first got it, but there's a lot of like similar browns, similar purples. The shades, like the shimmer shades in here, aren't really anything that get me super excited, and I never reach for this. I haven't reached for it in years. And another palette that I've really not used that much, so I will definitely pass this along. I know people in my life that would really like this palette, so I'm going to pass it to one of them. The last eyeshadow palette I'm decluttering, I don't really know if I've even used this on my eyes, maybe once. It's the Kylie Cosmetics, it's one of her birthday palettes. I think this was like maybe, let's see what it says, her 21st birthday? Maybe 2 years ago. This is the Sipping Pretty palette. So I got this as an Ulta gift with purchase. Actually, it looks really pretty. Should I keep it? No, I'm never going to use this. So I got, this is the problem on why I don't get rid of makeup. So I got this as like a Diamond Platinum Day offer from Ulta. Clearly they were trying to get rid of their inventory, and it's still in the box. I just don't reach for it. I'm not really impressed by the formula, and that palette is definitely like this. That's not really my thing, and like it's just kind of tacky. I have two face palettes that I'm going to declutter. This one is from Tarte, and it's an eye and face palette. It's the Clay Play Face Shaping Palette. I loved this palette for a really long time. It's nostalgic to even smell it because it has like that tart vanilla smell. As you can see, like I have a big dip in a lot of those shadows, and I really like how these are a bunch of neutral mattes. But as I grew my collection in the last 2-3 years, I really experimented with different brands, different formulas, and I find the face powders to be a little bit too pigmented and patchy and just not very user-friendly. There's really nothing wrong with the eyeshadows, but I don't know, I have these shades in other palettes, and palettes that like my ABH palettes where they're really good mattes, really good shimmers, you don't have to reach for multiple things, and I just don't reach for it anymore. I used to recommend this palette to a lot of people, and I have gifted it to friends and family, and there's nothing wrong with it. I just have other things that I prefer more at this point, other formulas. Next face palette, I was a little bit reluctant to declutter because it is so cute. I just don't know why I haven't reached for it. It's the Ofra Midi Palette Toasted Cashmere. I picked this up from Ulta, I don't know, 2 years ago now, and it has like their Rodeo Drive highlighter, their general matte bronzer, and their blush and cheer. I really like how compact this is. Their highlighters are gorgeous, you know, it's a very sought after formula, but But again, the blush and the bronzer specifically in here are very, very pigmented powders. You have to be really careful with them or they can get blotchy, you can apply too much, and they're just not super user-friendly. Nothing wrong with them, but they're not super easy to use. So I think even though this is like the perfect travel size palette, I never find myself putting this in my travel bag because I just want something that I can slap on my face. It's going to be easy. I love the formula, and unfortunately, even though I love the highlighters, it's just not this. And again, I know a lot of people that would really like this palette. Kind of going in a random order here, but I have a couple like highlighter type products that I'm decluttering. The first is from Becca. This is the shade Gold Lava. This is a really pretty like limited edition highlight from them. It actually looks really pretty next to like my holiday stuff. I think this was limited edition. I picked this up in my TJ Maxx shopping days. I really like shopping at TJ Maxx and Marshalls for makeup still, but I'm a lot pickier with what I buy now. I make sure it's a product that I wanted before I got there, not that I just want because it's there. I bought too much makeup there for a while, but this is just not right for my skin tone. I never reach for it, and yeah, I'm gonna pass this along to someone who would use it more than me. Another Becca highlight that I am decluttering. This is the Champagne Pop Cream. I got this. This is like one of the first products I purchased from Sephora when I first started watching YouTube and watching Jaclyn Hill. It's like a little bit late to the party. I thought that the powder, this is like before the cream craze, right? I thought I was ordering the powder. I got the cream. I wasn't sure how to use it, so I never used it. Then I got into creams and I used it for a little while. But this is just a really, really like stiff cream, and you just don't get a lot of like payoff from it. It just doesn't do a whole lot. Like, I'd rather use the Champagne Pop powder, which I love, or the liquid, which I broke and now they don't make anymore. But yeah, I'd rather use the powder or the liquid. I literally have every formula of Champagne Pop, and this is the worst one in my opinion. We have a loose highlight from Wet n Wild. It is the Mega Glow Loose Highlighter in the shade, I don't know what shade this is. It doesn't necessarily say. But it's like the champagne type shade. It's a very large highlight. This is blinding, but the packaging is messy. It's just a little bit too powdery for me. I really like my Artist Couture loose highlight better than this. And I think I picked it up when I was on a vacation and forgot a highlight, and I found this at like Walgreens, and I had heard good things. Nothing wrong with it. I just never reach for it. I guess not nothing wrong with it. I like the Artist Couture powder loose highlight better than this. I have the shade Summer Haze, and I just prefer that one over this, and I don't need two loose highlights. Another powder highlight I am decluttering is from Pretty Vulgar. It's the Shimmering Swan highlighter in the shade Glow Up. This is a BoxyCharm item. I was a subscriber to BoxyCharm for quite a while when I was just trying to like build my makeup collection more. Now I definitely don't need to be, and I get Ipsy and PR, which is really exciting. But this just doesn't have a lot of like, it's very powdery again, and I'm like losing room on my hands. It's very powdery, and I just don't find like it has a lot of payoff, and I really don't like the color, and I haven't reached for it, and I don't remember the last time I reached for this, so it's gonna go. I'm also going to declutter this Cover FX glitter drops. This was another BoxyCharm item. These are beautiful, but they are what they say, they're glitter drops, and I really actually like the Cover FX Custom Enhancer drops. Those are like their shimmery highlight, but these are too oily and liquidy to use on your eyes and too glittery for your face. Like, this would be maybe like pretty as like a body mix-in for like something fun in summer, but I don't really have a purpose for this. I'm also decluttering these drops from Bondi Bay. They're the Happy Glow Lucky Face Bronzing Drops. They sent these to me after doing a giveaway with them. I barely use them. They're not that old, but as you can see, like everything, I'm gonna try to, it's like totally separated and really gross on the top, and I just don't feel comfortable putting that on my face, so I'm going to toss those in the garbage. And then the last highlighter, I'm going to pass this along to someone because it's super fun. It's a little tiny mini powder highlight from Artist Couture. It is the Diamond Glow Powder in Broadway. As you can see, I don't want to open it because it's pretty messy. I already got some on my table. But it's like a very deep pinky highlight, and it's just too deep for me, even though I love the formula. I was able to declutter a couple blushes. This one is from Milk Makeup. It is like their lip and cheek stick in the shade Perk. It's another TJ Maxx find. There's so much product in this. It's the coral shade. It's really pretty, but I have tried so many cream and liquid bronzers over the last like 2 years as I've really gotten into creams, and this was one of the first formulas I ever tried. I don't not like it, but it is very waxy and sheer, and you really have to build it up on the cheeks, and I think for a beginner this is perfect, but for what I'm looking for at this point, I just don't reach for it. I have one of the ColourPop blush sticks that's in a similar coral shade. It's Under Pressure, and that one just has more pigment and is a little bit creamier, and I reach for it over this, so I just don't need both in my collection. A powder blush I'm decluttering is from Anastasia. Do you guys remember these blush trios? This is the shade Pool Party. These were, when I first started my Instagram page, these were everything. I won these in a giveaway and I was really excited about it. As you can see, this is just really cool toned. This is like really glittery, this middle shade. This is pretty, but like they don't really go together. It's kind of hard to dip your brush in just one, and I just don't reach for it. I tend to reach for like single blushes the most, and so I'm gonna pass this one along. Moving on, I have one face product. It's just unfortunately expired. It is from Clove & Hollow. It is their tinted moisturizer liquid skin tint in the shade 5. I was retesting this out for my liquid skin tinted moisturizer comparison video, and unfortunately I've used up maybe over half of this, but it is just separated and expired. It's not my favorite skin tint I've ever used. It's a little bit drying, but I did like it overall, and it's just expired, so it's gotta go. A few primers I'm decluttering. The Becca Velvet Blurring Primer, another TJ Maxx item I got just because it was probably like $12.99 or something like that, and I was like, ooh, that sounds good. This has like a really interesting, like you really have to shake it up. I have really dry skin, and I usually use like a glowy hydrating primer and then maybe a little bit of a pore filler in my T-zone, but this is just like almost like a drying mattifying primer, and it's just not right for my skin type, and I've only used it a few times because it just doesn't really work with my skin. Next is from Wet n Wild. It's the Rose Primer Serum. I really don't know what happened to this. I didn't use that much of this, but I think some spilled out into like the bin that my primers used to be in. It's like spilled out onto here, and then some of it like just like evaporated, and I'm not that crazy about this primer. I think it kind of like hydrates for a second and then disappears and doesn't really do anything, and if it's been open to air like this whole time just dissolving, I don't really think it's probably going to be effective anymore. And yeah, last primer. I used to love this primer so much. It's the Too Faced Hangover RX primer. This is the It's So Big major size that is like literally as big as my head. Another TJ Maxx find. I was really excited to get this, but it was like a backup, and I didn't end up opening it for so long. It doesn't smell quite right anymore. Oh yeah, it's like hard in there. And I just squirted it on my sweatshirt. Hopefully I didn't just ruin my makeup. But it just doesn't smell quite right anymore, and it just doesn't have the same effect that it used to. But I did used to love this primer. It's a nice like hydrating, lotiony primer, and unfortunately this one's expired. I kept all the lip products in here. Actually there's two not lip products. I'm getting rid of this Hank & Henry Slick With It liner in Blickety Black. I use this a lot. It's just dried out and old, and I've had it open for way too long, so we're going to get rid of that. And then one nail polish from China Glaze. I need to get back into doing my nails. They're really dirty right now. I had a really long doing my own nail phase, and I did this color for summer, not realizing it's matte. And this is the shade Pink Voltage, and it looks absolutely terrible on my nails. I do not like matte nail color. Moving on to lip products. So I have 3 lipsticks from Kat Von D before she rebranded. The shade Lovecraft, Lolita, and Hellbent. Now, I really like these. I really don't think they're expired. They look fine. But these are like a dry formula. I don't know. I just never reach for these because I feel like I like a more hydrating lipstick. I have dry lips. I live in Wisconsin, and I feel like they just kind of like tug at my lips when I apply them. Again, went crazy over these when all the Kat Von D stuff was at TJ Maxx. I think we're noticing a trend here. I need to chill out on the TJ Maxx makeup, which I have. But back in the day, I was obsessed with these, getting these for like $6.99. And I was like, oh, Lolita, I have to have that. Even though it's like the same as Lovecraft. And Hellbent is like more of like a red shade. I don't know. I had to have it apparently. But yeah, I don't use these. Two more lipsticks that I enjoy, but they are just like some of my oldest lipsticks, and they're definitely expired. The first one is the shade Wild Rose from, is this Maybelline? They're both Maybelline. This is Maybelline Wild Rose 875. I love this hot pink shade. I need a new one like this in my life, but it's got like some girl stuff growing on it. So that needs to go in the garbage. They are really, really old in my collection, like before I even got into YouTube. And then this shade was my favorite for a really long time. It is Maybelline 575 Brown Blush. I should buy this again because I really, really like this like mauve-y brown shade. Ugh, got some girl stuff on there too. That is really old. I have a bunch of lip glosses in here. All these four have something in common, which is like they're just too shimmery. Oh, this is not a lip gloss. This is an eyeshadow. The Eye Luster Cream Shadow from Ciate. This is a fun formula. It's really like, it's like a liquid glitter shadow. This looks really pretty in here, like a white gold, but it just looks like a greenish gold on my hand, and it doesn't really like apply very well on the eyes. It applies pretty patchy, and that green gold I'm just not into, and I never reach for it. Now I have a bunch of lip glosses. So these three are too glittery. The Tardiest Insta Famous lip gloss. Look at how much glitter is in there. I got that in BoxyCharm, just too glittery. And then this one, I think this is another BoxyCharm one. Becca Champagne Cream. This one's not too bad. I don't reach for it ever. The formula is nothing special to me. This Beauty Counter gloss, my mother-in-law gets me a lot of beauty counter stuff for Christmas, and this one is just too deep, too glittery. It's sticky. I have some beauty counter glosses that I like, but this shade in particular is just not really for me. A couple other random lip products. This Dulce lip pencil in Winterberry. I feel like we've all gotten this in a subscription box. I don't really think I've ever used this. I'll pass that along. This Violet Voss liquid lipstick in the shade Muse. I've really never used this. I feel like it's like the same color as my Dose of Color liquid lips, which I have a couple of, and those are the only like liquid lips that I really like that much anymore, and I'd rather pass this along to a friend that would really enjoy this color because it's really pretty. The last gloss I have is from Bare Minerals. I think this was like one of my first high-end purchases ever. It came in like a Bare Minerals kit. I don't even know how old this is, but I loved this gloss for so long. I think it's over half gone, which is really good for me. It still smells fine. It's like a sweet mint, and this is the shade Party Starter. I wish that Bare Minerals would make this gloss again because I really love this formula. It's just really old. I cannot put that on my lips anymore. There's a few other things in here. I didn't realize this Too Faced liner. They don't make this anymore. The Bulletproof 24-hour shadow liner. It's like a big fat liner, and it has like a little thing here to blend it, but that's just really old. That's all the products I have for this declutter. Looking at all these, there are some that are embarrassingly old in my collection, and I'm realizing that it's okay to declutter products, and if I declutter sooner, then I can give them to people who will actually use the products before they expire. So I'm warming up to the idea. I know a lot of people are really into watching declutters, so let me know, you know, if you like that kind of thing, what you thought of this video. Definitely give it a thumbs up if you want to see more declutters, and I promise you I'm going to try to be better about it because Lord knows I'm still buying more makeup, and I can't just keep the same amount and keep buying makeup. So, but as always, make sure you subscribe to my channel before you leave, hit the little post notification bell, and we will see you in my next video. Bye.